Hello, and welcome to the Model P31 Wellness Podcast. I'm Bridget McCrae, and I'm so excited you're listening today. In each episode, I'll be sharing practical ideas to help on our journeys to wellness as a whole. Think of this as encouragement central. During our time today, let's talk about perspective. Now, I have to be honest, when I first started my journey, I had an interesting perspective, maybe a common perspective. I thought of things as I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to exercise, I have to eat more vegetables, I have to drink more water, which felt like and sounded like drudgery, to be honest. But then I began to see things from a different vantage point. And I began to think about it as, you know what? I don't have to exercise. I get to exercise. I get to do something good for my body today, whether it's physical activity, whether it's drinking more water, maybe getting a little bit more sleep, whatever the case may be, I get to do it. I don't have to do it. And it sort of helped to shift my thinking and move my headspace to a more positive place instead of looking at it as a negative. I have to. And then, just in my own journey, I started thanking God, not only for the ability to get to do these things, to get to move my body, to be able to think clearly, to make healthier choices, but also for the opportunities to do those things and the willingness to want to do those things. Honestly, I was not always in that space. I really wasn't. Again, it was drudgery to me, probably why it took a health crisis to bring me to the place of being willing. I just didn't want to. I was comfortable in my habits of eating whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I wasn't packing on weight. Losing weight was never my goal in this journey in the first place. But I began to understand I get to do something good for my body. If I want my body to function at optimal levels, I have to treat it as such. And so that just gave me a different perspective. Think about it this way. With an automobile, if you have a luxury automobile, you're not going to put regular unleaded gas in it because the car requires premium fuel. So you could put regular if you want to, right? But your car is probably not going to perform well if it performs at all along the way. So if we're looking at just an automobile is replaceable. You're not replaceable. I'm not replaceable. So if we'll give that much attention to a vehicle, why not give that much more attention to our personal vehicle, our bodies, right? And so something else, back to the I have to versus I get to. Our words have lots of power, more power than we realize. There's an old adage that sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That's a lie. It's a lie, honestly. It sounded cute, but it's a lie. Our words do have power. Not only the words that we speak to and about others, but also the words that we speak to and about ourselves. If you're a fan of the Bible, I know I am, there are lots of places where we're told about the power of words. In Proverbs 18, it talks about the power of life and death being in the tongue. And the Lord Jesus himself said in Matthew 12:34, he spoke of how it is out of the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaks. And King David in Psalm 141, verse 3, spoke of asking the Lord to put a guard over his mouth. I don't know about you, but sometimes I need a guard on mine. So that goes back to, again, I have to versus I get to. Could you imagine the effects that changing, just making a small change in the words we articulate, how that could have a positive impact on our wellness journeys or even our lives in general? So changing that perspective from I have to do this to I get to do this, and it is good for me. Even though the process may not be fun, the results are worth it. I used to have a love-hate relationship with weights at the gym. It was hard work. It was hard work. It is hard work. Not fun, but being in a community where I was around other people and am around other people who are doing the same, you feel motivated and encouraged. But even on those days that I didn't on my journey when I started, or when I don't, I still do my best to get it done because the results are amazing. And not just physical results. As I push through using weights, it wasn't just a physical thing, but it was also an emotional thing. It was also a spiritual thing, because we will have weights in our lives. And as we face those challenges, we get stronger through the process. Right? Yes. Okay. So I digress. Back to the subject at hand. I want to talk about some action steps that you could take regarding a shift in perspective. So the first one would be to write down negative words and phrases you're aware of using regularly. You know there are certain things you say and they're negative or have a negative connotation. Write those down. And then, secondly, try to catch those words before they slip and rephrase them into helpful ones. For example, I have to get up and go for a walk versus I get to get up and go for a walk. Third suggestion, enlist the aid of loved ones to graciously point it out if you continue to use those types of words. Graciously point it out. These are people you trust, people to whom you give permission to call you to the carpet. Sometimes we need that. Sometimes we don't realize the words that are coming out of our mouths because it's so habitual. Okay? And so when somebody points it out, I've given my children permission to do that. When I'm driving, sometimes I start talking to the person who's in front of me as if the person could hear me or should. But I give my children, and I have for years, I've given them permission to call me on it. And all they have to do is say, Mom. I know exactly what that means, so I can straighten up and fly right, so to speak. And lastly, I will say, if you are a Jesus follower, admit to the Lord that you need his assistance and ask him for it. He wants to help you. He wants to help us on our journeys. He cares about every single thing that concerns us, and that includes our wellness journeys. So anyway, I want to thank you for joining me today. And I'd like to invite you to visit my website for special product offers exclusive only to podcast listeners. You can go to modelp31wellness.com/podcast-promo to see those exclusive offers. I will make sure to put the website in the show notes as well, so that you can see that. Also, and very importantly, for your safety, always consult with a physician before making changes to your dietary and/or physical activity habits. Consult the physician before making those changes. Okay? All right. Well, I'm delighted that you took this time to spend with me today and invest in your wellness. I look forward to your joining me next week. Always remember that you are worth the investment. And here's to a healthier you. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.